Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ari, and today we're going to have some more stories about our toxic life. But before we start, it would be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to my channel, like the video, if you enjoy it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now without further ado, let's go. Today's first story. In the story, a 23-year-old leases an apartment with his 22-year-old girlfriend of 2 years. A month later, he discovers evidence of her affair. Despite her bisexuality, he believed in their commitment. Confronted about infidelity, she dismisses his concerns, suggesting he joins them. He ends the relationship, and the landlord rescinds the lease. The girlfriend's immaturity and selfishness become evident, leading to their separation and his newfound freedom. Now let's get into the story. I, 23 male, just leased my first apartment with my girlfriend, 22 female, of 2 years. We were only living there for a month before I found evidence of her affair. She let me know while we were dating that she was pretty sure she was bi. I shrugged it off. That was fine, right? As long as she knew what it meant to be in a committed and loyal one-on-one relationship. I asked to make sure she was only exclusively seeing me after 4 months into our relationship, and she said yes. She would message her friends all the time, but promised me she took our relationship seriously. Fast forward a year and a half and we're very much in love and getting our first apartment together, a signed lease with each other. I was a little nervous, but I thought that was normal. We were together so often and we'd be living together. There's no way she could have something going on behind my back. I was kind of wrong because she got away with something for a month. One morning as I got ready for work, I found long blonde hair in our bed. Since I had short black hair and she had curly brown hair, I was pretty certain qualified as evidence of an affair. I showed it to her and asked if she had someone else in our bed. She shrugged and asked what I'd do about it if she did. I was speechless, and she added that if I was cool about it, maybe I could join them. I said I would end the relationship immediately because I wouldn't stand for being cheated on. She said we just signed the lease together, so I have to suck it up and appreciate what I had. I told her she was a psycho for thinking I was okay with this, and I paid a visit to the leasing office. The landlord was very empathetic and outraged at my story. She wrote me a letter that rescinded the lease. My ex was furious and started screaming and throwing stuff around. She wouldn't be able to lease the apartment without me because she still didn't have a job. I asked her why she couldn't just move in with AP, and she said it was none of my business. I didn't care. At least I knew she couldn't have a place to bring her back to. The landlord had another rental available, and she let me rent for cheap to help me cope with an unexpected life change. So my ex tried reaching me for a month until she finally gave up. I know she hates me. Even though she's a heartless cheater. She didn't have the maturity to rent a home with someone. And I wish I would have been able to tell her that living with someone requires selflessness, understanding, and responsibility. She acted like living with someone only meant they had to help her pay the bills no matter how badly she treated them. That's selfish and controlling behavior if I ever saw it. I became a house party host, which is something I never would thought to do before in fear of my fiancée going out of her way to flirt with other people. I'm enjoying my freedom and certainly hope others don't fall for someone as disrespectful as this girl. Today's second story. In this story, OP and their spouse were married for 11 years and started living a healthier lifestyle. They attended the gym where an affair partner, referred to as Baldy, worked as a coach. She noticed their spouse getting attention from men, including Baldy. Suspicions arose when Baldy seemed overly interested in the spouse's wife, leading to arguments and a change of gyms. Later, she discovered evidence of an affair when they found messages on their spouse's phone. Now let's get into the story. Me and my soon-to-be ex have been married for 11 years with no kids. We were a pretty chubby couple until 2 years ago when I had a blood test and it came out that I was prone to contracting diabetes, gout, and hypertension. It really scared me and we both started to have a very healthy life. We attended a gym almost daily in the afternoon where the affair partner worked as a coach. Let's call him Baldy. When my wife started getting in shape, I noticed most guys turned to see her. I felt so proud of her. She is fairly busty and she has magnificent legs. Of course, Baldy wasn't the exception. I noticed that Baldy likes to check out women's butts. I've seen him doing it several times and he likes to show off how ripped he is. When Jane and I were regulars at the gym, I noticed she was enjoying the attention she got from men. Once we were using the elliptical machines. In front of them is a cable machine. Baldy took off his t-shirt and started doing crossovers. I turned to Jane with my face of "Can you believe this guy?" But she was staring at him and she wet her lips. I saw Baldy and I swear he was grinning. I felt crushed. I mean, I was getting in shape, but I am not as muscular and fit as he is. When we were driving home, I made a comment about Baldy showing off and Jane said, "Really? I didn't notice." I told her you were staring. She said, "I don't remember. I must have been thinking about something else." I shrugged it off and kept driving. But from there on, I noticed they were talking more frequently at the gym. Some weeks later, Jane was doing squats using the Smith machine. Suddenly, Baldy went to help her. Isn't he nice? He was grabbing her by the waist and I got angry. She finished the first set, and I went over there and told him in not such a nice way, "I got it from here." Baldy just smiled and told me, "No problem, buddy." He calls everybody buddy, and he walked off. Jane knows me very well, and when she heard my angry tone, she said, "We'll discuss this at home." At home, drama blew up. She called me immature and jealous. I told her I noticed he was trying to get into her pants. She said that she knows that, but she would never cheat on me. I said, "Then why did she let him touch her?" And she said she didn't want to be rude. About an hour after arguing, we agreed to change gyms. So we went to another place to exercise. But Jane was resentful of me. In the following months, her argument was that I don't trust her. On the third month, after we changed gyms, a very good opportunity opened up in my job. But in the afternoon we discussed it and I took it, and we had to attend the gym at different hours. I went in the morning and Jane in the afternoon. This is when it all went south. Jane's resentment increased and we barely spoke. I sent her messages telling her about my day, that I miss her, and memes. But she rarely replied. I was very worried. And post-couple therapy. She said I was the one who needs therapy because I am the one with the trust issues. I agreed. I was so desperate to fix our marriage that I even thought it was all my fault. So the following year in 2022, I went to therapy. But Jane's behavior didn't change. We weren't intimate anymore. She never was in the mood. I snooped on her phone but didn't find anything out of the ordinary. I looked into her car for a second phone. Nothing. I checked her phone again to see her map history. It only showed me house to work, to house to gym to house. Whenever I tried to talk to her, she said she feels that she was having a 40s phase. It'll pass. I never had any evidence of cheating, so I continued working and worrying. We live in a condo. The security guard, a very cheerful man called Mr. P, greeted me. We chat a lot. He was touching his shoulder and told me yesterday he had to move a heavy sofa and he has some pain. Today. I was sympathetic and he dropped the bomb. "Maybe you can arrange a meeting with your massagist." I told him who? He said, "The guy who came yesterday to massage Mrs. Jane." It took me a second to process this. I told him, "Do you have a video with him?" I think he noticed I was pale and hurried to show me. Guess who? Baldy, of course. He was coming over a few times to massage my wife. I took the day off and started investigating. I asked a coworker for his car and in the afternoon I followed Jane. She parked her car at the mall where the gym is and there is Baldy waiting for her. They giggled and behaved like a couple. Kisses, hugs, and I felt tears coming down my face. They walked a couple of blocks and went into a residential area. I tried to follow them with my phone ready to record, but the guard stopped me and asked, "Can I help you?" I just said, "What a nice couple. Do you know them?" He said he thinks they are newlyweds, but can't tell me anything else. I called Jane, but she never answered. I went to her car in the mall and wondered why that place doesn't show up on the map. I dial again and I can hear her phone inside her car. I also found out Jane hasn't attended the gym in 8 months. I didn't know that the previous night was the last day I slept with Jane in the same bed. I returned to the car and went home, then called my parents. Fortunately, my dad answered and I told him everything. I was crying and he comforted me and told me to get evidence. Obviously, my marriage was over and I needed all I can gather while he contacts one of his friends who's an excellent divorce lawyer. Jane called me when she saw the 2 missing calls. I just told her I was already home. And she told me I'm on my way from the gym. My butt is killing me. Yeah, I can guess. When she saw me, she asked, "What happened? Why did you cry?" I don't know how, but I was mentally focused. I smiled and told her I got the flu. That's why I left work early. Don't come near me. It might be the bug. I'll be tested tomorrow. I'll sleep in the spare room. She agreed. I cried silently and didn't sleep a wink. Nearly around midnight, I heard her giggling. I guess she was messaging Baldy. But I didn't find any evidence of her contacting another man. Then it hit me. Why didn't I see it earlier? I bet the affair partner is disguised as one of her female coworkers. In the morning, while Jane was in the shower, I took her phone and created a session on my laptop, and put her phone back in the same place. We both can unlock our phones. The session works while the phone is close to my laptop or in the same Wi-Fi account. Then I saw it under a female name. The profile picture was a dumbbell. I entered and most of the conversations were deleted. I guess they use work words as code in case I snooped. Can you deliver the papers in my desk? I know she doesn't have a desk at work. Going to the meeting? Where are you? On the top of them was bosses in his office. He's clueless. Pretty clever. I guess I'm the boss because I know her boss is a woman. Jane got out of the shower and saw me. You look worse. Why don't you stay with your parents? I denied the idea of obtaining evidence. After Jane went out, I contacted my dad and he gave me the name and number of the lawyer. I called him and explained everything. He told me the captions I took from my laptop are useless and that they don't have any factual evidence since it's not the affair partner's name. And she was smart enough to leave pieces of conversation that looked pretty innocent. At work, I was in a zombie mode, thinking about how to get the evidence. I wanted to install secret cameras in my house. But Baldy rarely comes to my home and Jane might find them. I texted Jane and told her I'm positive about the bug and I'll stay at my parents' because I might need help. She liked the idea and told me she would miss me, but she'll call me every day. When I hung up, I called my dad and my brother. When I got home, she had already packed a suitcase for me. She was so eager to get rid of me. I told her I'll take my laptop. And then I checked her messages. Boss will be out of the office. Want to come to my desk? She sent this message almost after I told her I was positive about the bug. Good she bit. We didn't have dinner kisses or hugs. I noticed her watching her watch twice from the door. I told her I'll miss you. I was expecting her to shut the door in my face, but she walked me to my car and I was gone. My dad and brother were outside the building, waiting for Baldy to appear, but he didn't show up. After half an hour. I thought, why did she walk me to my car? Of course, because Baldy was already inside the building, waiting perhaps inside her car. It would be very suspicious if her massagist came at this hour. I came back, hurried to my house, and entered silently. I heard music coming from the bedroom and moaning. Next to the door there's a sofa where his and her clothes were on it. I put my phone to record and opened the bedroom door. And there she was. My wife, the love of my life for 11 years. On all fours and Baldy behind her. I got a very good second of both of their faces when they saw me open the door. Jane screamed and covered herself with the blanket. Baldy went alpha male, immediately walking towards me. He yelled aggressively at me, "Why don't you go for a walk, buddy?" And then hit his throat. With my hand open. I saw this movement in the Mel Gibson movie Ransom. The next second, Baldy was coughing and gasping, kneeling on the floor. I yelled, "Get out of my house!" and kicked him out. I threw his clothes at him and then closed the door. Jane was still on the bed, covering herself, and she was trembling. I told her I have never hurt you, nor will I get dressed. I'll wait for you in the living room. While I was waiting, I sent the video to my lawyer and he answered, "I'm sorry for you," but jackpot, a few minutes later, Jane showed up. She couldn't look me in the eyes. I started recording the conversation. I asked why. She didn't answer. Was I such an awful husband to you? She started crying but didn't answer. Do you love him? She shook her head, but no words. She finally spoke. We can fix this. Fix what? Our marriage was over since Baldy was in the picture. And you chose him over me. I then told her to go to her sister's house and threatened that if she didn't, I would send her sister the video. I followed her and watched. Since 2 days ago, I have been trying to convince myself that my wife is long gone. The person who I shared my house with is not my wife. But seeing her putting her clothes inside the suitcase neatly with her gracious moments and those little things I loved of her hit me hard. Later on, I called my dad. He told me Baldy wanted to press charges, but Mr. P told him he didn't sign in, so he's trespassing and the condo can sue him. I was exhausted. The past few days I haven't slept well. Next morning, my phone had a lot of Jane's messages apologizing and asking for a second chance. I just blocked her. My sister-in-law called me. Apparently, Jane hadn't told her what happened, just that we were fighting. I guess it's good my father-in-law's not alive to see Jane's behavior. She was the youngest and his favorite. My mother-in-law has senile dementia. All this happened a week ago. Next week, Jane is going to be served. Update. Yesterday, Monday morning, I went to my old gym. I was not sure if I'd meet Baldy. He worked in the afternoon, but he was screwing my wife in the afternoon, so I thought he's changed his shift. He was nowhere. I asked to talk to Frank, the gym owner. I then asked about Baldy, and he told me Monday is his day off and that he asked for more hours and now he works from Tuesday to Sunday in the morning. Then I explained the reason for my visit. He listened carefully until I finished, and finally, I showed him the video. He stayed silent and said, "You're not going to like this." I thought, what now? Frank called the receptionist to bring Harry in, another coach and Baldy's friend. According to Harry, Baldy is head over heels for Jane, and Frank confirmed it. Harry then told me something that made my jaw drop. Baldy is trying to marry Jane by baby-trapping her. Next, we discussed firing Baldy, and Frank said he has to report the situation to the coach association and surely has to fire him because Jane was a gym member or Frank's gym could have legal repercussions. My attorney will give the video to the coach association's attorney, while Baldy will lose his license from that association. That's pretty much everything for now.